everyone, my name is Claire.
My name's McKenna.
And my name's Megan.
And we use a video chat called Uvu.
We use it to talk to our friends.
And to talk to family members in other states.
We use it to study for tests the next day.
Or to show each other what we bought at the mall that day.
It's like you're hanging out with your friends when you can't go to their house.
We also think kids with disabilities can use Uvu.
Such as kids with hearing impairments.
They can use it to sign to their friends.
Go to www.oovo.com.
And download it for free now.
Thanks for listening to our podcast.
Bye!
Welcome to the A.T.TIPSCAST, exploring and investigating the implementation of assistive technology in public schools. I'm your host, Chris Bouguet. This is episode 50, recorded on February 19th, 2010. As a birthday present for me, the daughter of one of my colleagues got together with a few of her friends and put together that soundbite I played at the beginning of the episode. So, here's a big thanks to Claire and her friends, who not only spent time writing and recording that segment, but who also burned it to a CD, and then delivered that CD on my birthday in a bowl full of Jell-O, a la Jim Halpert from the television show The Office. You can see pictures of the birthday present over at the blog A.T.TIPSCAST.wordpress.com. Little funny story to share. Once I dug the CD out of the Jell-O, I dumped the Jell-O down the drain in the sink in the men's room, which then, of course, clogged the sink. I tried running water, I tried a plunger, I tried removing it with paper towels. Nothing worked. Guys kept coming into the bathroom to discover me, elbow deep in orange Jell-O. It eventually dissolved, but not until after many awkward looks from others who work in the building. What can I say? I got some wild, wild life. Which, in case you didn't know, is the title of the song by the Talking Heads, which leads us right into A.T.TIPS 76 through 82, which are all free video conferencing tools. Claire mentions A.T.TIP number 76, Uvu, as an educational tool she and her friends use for both social and educational purposes. Uvu, which is really uvu.com, O-O-V-O-O, but it's way more fun to say Uvu, is a free video conferencing tool. Now, truth is, I've heard of Uvu before, but I've only played with it a little bit. One of the nice features of Uvu is that it has a web-based version that doesn't require an install. Just click on the Click to Start a Web Video Chat button located on the Uvu homepage and you're good to go. You're given a URL that you can send to friends who can then use that link to video chat with you. One limitation is that you can only chat from point to point, meaning it's only two-way. Or to put it another way, you can't chat with more than one computer at a time. Well, not for free anyway. There's also a free version you can download, but I'm not sure what additional features you get by downloading that version. I didn't do it. If you know, leave a comment over at the blog at A.T.TIPSCAST.wordpress.com or over at the Facebook fan page of the A.T.TIPSCAST so that other listeners of the show can learn about the differences too. To me, one of the advantages of Uvu, as compared to A.T.TIP number 77 Skype, is that there isn't a download or installation required. Skype, however, is the 800-pound gorilla that most people associate with video conferencing, and frankly, it's the tool I'm more familiar with using. Truth is, there are a number of free video conferencing tools available. For instance, A.T.TIP number 78 DimDim is another one that's web-based. In fact, the list goes on, and there's just too many to name here. But I'm going to try anyway. A.T.TIP number 79, iVisit.com. That's lowercase I and visit, and that requires a download. A.T.TIP number 80, paulby.com. It's free and it's web-based. A.T.TIP number 81, talkbox.com. That's TOKBOX.com, which is also web-based. And A.T.TIP number 82, tinychat.com, which is also web-based and allows you to customize your chat room name while integrating with both Twitter and Facebook. And of course, there might be others that I'm not aware of, but those are the biggies that are all free and that I've heard of. So with all these video conferencing tools out there, what are the ways to use these tools to support students? Claire mentioned a few, and here are a few others. 1. Tutoring. My wife actually uses Skype as a tool for tutoring. Tutoring can be live, in person, or it can be done via video conferencing.
Or a combination of both might work for a student.
Honey, do you want to tell people about this one?
Sure, since I'm the one actually using this strategy. Okay, let's say there was a huge blizzard that paralyzed the east coast of the United States, which caused your roof to ice up, causing an ice damming problem, which led to water seeping into your walls, so you couldn't get out of the house to go tutor because you're snowed in. Well, then you could use Skype with a student, and that student wouldn't miss a tutoring session. Also, it might be helpful when trying to wean a student from tutoring services. If a student is ready to start going it alone without in-person tutoring assistance, videoconferencing is a great fallback plan. Something like, if you get stuck, call me, and we'll hop onto the computer to figure it out.
Thanks, Bud. Also, I'd like to add that with video conferencing, students looking for tutors aren't limited to tutors in their geographic location. If that student has high-speed internet access, then he or she could access a tutor anywhere in the world. Like my wife, for instance, which would be great because we need to pay for the repairs due to the water damage. Number 2. Telepractice and speech therapy, for instance, is becoming more and more common, especially in locations where getting a speech therapist to your school or house is difficult. For instance, if your school doesn't have enough students to mandate a resident speech therapist, one could be videoconferenced in to provide virtual therapy. Number 3. Back in my day, when we got together to study, we got on our bikes or had our parents drive us to our friend's house. Then we'd break open the bag of chips, crack open the big old textbook, and have at it. We knew the session was over when we couldn't stand the Dorito breath any longer, whether we were done studying or not. These young whippersnappers nowadays have it easy. They don't have to worry about how they smell or how the person across the table from them smells. Nah! They have it easy now, studying together with their friends via their Webernets and inner cameras and such. Why, I've even seen these young'uns hold up their papers to their cameranators just to show how they did a math problem or how to practice their flashcards. These kids these days using their video conferencing tools to have virtual study groups. Bah! Number 4. Along the same lines as virtual study groups, educators could have virtual office hours. Students could know that teachers will be available online during a certain time slot. In colleges and universities, if I wanted to go visit with a professor to ask questions, I had to schlep myself all the way across campus during office hours to do so. Can you guess how many times I went out in the middle of a Buffalo winter to go see my professors to get clarification or ask a question? Yeah, right. In public schools, a teacher might make themselves available during a study hall or some planning period. I should be clear here that I'm not saying that educators would need to increase the amount of time they're already offering, but potentially provide an alternative means for contact, namely video conferencing. Number 5. For some students, giving an oral presentation can be a nerve-wracking experience, and for other students, like students with selective mutism for instance, it can be something that will just not happen in a live, in-person, face-to-face situation, not by choice either. One possible way to alleviate this pressure is to try eliminating the in-person component. Students could be offered the opportunity to give their presentation via video conference as an alternative means of expression. Number 6. There are some students who, for a myriad of potential reasons, are unable to attend school. Maybe they're sick at home, or they have allergies, whatever. We can probably all think of a situation where a student was unable to attend. If the student has high-speed internet access at home, now they can attend. Turn on the video conferencing tool, point the camera toward the teacher, and away they go. Not only can they see what's going on in class, but they can participate as well. Besides instructionally, students could virtually attend other school functions like plays, concerts, assemblies, and sporting events. Number 7. Video conferencing opens up the potential for correspondence with experts in the field of study. Many different organizations offer video conferencing for educators where an expert chats with a class who asks questions. For instance, let's say your class is listening to the latest Nightlight story from nightlightstories.net. After listening to the story, the students have a discussion or generate questions about the story. As an educator, you could contact the authors and set up a Q&A sort of session where the students engage with the authors, getting answers from the source. This same principle could be applied to professional development too, where someone, like a person who does a podcast on assistive technology for instance, could video conference into a staff development workshop held at your school. After listening to episode number 49, Autocorrect in Word, Brian Dowd left a message over at snapvine.com/A.T.TIPSCAST to give another use for this powerful feature. Have a listen.
Hey, Chris. Just listened to the A.T.TIPSCAST episode number 49. You gave some great and useful ideas. Another idea might be for students who are used to texting to use autocorrect for the texting shortcuts they're already familiar with, such as the letter U for the word you, letter R for, of course, the word R, and THX for thanks. Well, I think you get the picture. Keep up the good work and look forward to hearing A.T.TIPSCAST episode 50.
That's a fantastic use for autocorrect in Word. When a student writes LOL, it actually types out laugh out loud. Why didn't I think of that? If you've got some ideas on how you or your students are using any of the AT Tips, or if you just want to say hi, head on over to snapvine.com/AT-TIPSCAST to leave a message. Also, I'd like to remind you that you can become a fan of the AT-TIPScast over at the Facebook fan page and become a fan of the Practical and Fun Guide to Assistive Technology in Public Schools on Facebook as well. We're trying to cook up some fun activity over there, so please come on over and check it out. Of course, I have links to everything over at the blog, AT.TIPSCAST.wordpress.com. And you may ask yourself, are all my interventions inclusive? And you may ask yourself, are all my strategies supportive?
And you may ask yourself,